So continuing on with our program outline that you see here on building collaborative teams, we'll have a breakout room right before talking about ideal leaders for teams. Jolie will speak on focused HR practices and then on requisite skills for the team with regard to supporting a sense of community. And I'll join you again on heritage relationships and briefly on key takeaways. And do you want to take it away, Jolie?
Yes, thank you, Eleanor. Okay, so I would like to share with you our objectives. Yes, and then we are here, as Eleanor mentioned, share with you the best practices. And I'm sort of representing UC Berkeley academia, and Eleanor is the NGO, and Sydney is from her perspective in the industry, private sector. And also we want to make it fun. And so this will be a very engaging, interactive. We will have activities in the breakout rooms, so that highlighting how we can reskill and upskill our ability to create a high performance collaborated teams. And we want to, we understand and we are in this together. So our commitment is we really want to acknowledge and shout out to all of you the challenges that you have to face because of the transition, working from home, shelter in place, remote, and now slowly back to a hybrid work environment, and also some extra works, expectation in your work line, your life. For example, for me, like anyone who have families, responsibility as a caregiver, and we want to share a few findings from a world-renowned happiness expert, which Eleanor is going to go into next. And we also here we'll offer some fun breakout rooms, build teams and trust. We can take this moment to share valuable, actionable contents for collaborating in teams. Thank you, Eleanor.
Super. So, as I mentioned before, we're really interested to get to know you and learn where you're coming from. So I thought it'd be fun to have an icebreaker and just ask you to put in the chat, what's your favorite activity or hobby to do after work, outside of work? Then our official questions for you having to do with the program are really, they're going to be managed by Deepak. So, and we'll leave this slide up for a while for you to take a look at it. So could you tell us where you are joining us from? What UC campus? You can put in a city if you want to, whatever you prefer. Which role do you have within your group? Are you a senior executive, a director, a manager, staff, faculty? We're also interested, have you changed jobs or shifted roles, moving up laterally or changing lanes in the past couple of years? Then our third question is, when you're in a team, have you found there to be clearly articulated tasks and expectations? Do you have clear check-ins on how things are progressing with each individual in the team? So it's really about how the check-ins go and explanations of tasks to each member of the team. Our fourth question is, do individuals on your team and your direct report generally ask how you're feeling, how you're doing? And then lastly, if so, did it make you more interested in contributing with greater commitment? So we'll leave that up for a little bit. Meanwhile, Jolie and Sydney and I can take a look at where people are joining us from. And you all, I believe, can see that too. So we'll give it a little bit more time.
We're close, right about an 80% response rate. So I think folks who are still, there's multiple questions in here.
Sure. Sure. Thank you for setting it up for us.
Oh, sure, certainly.
Yeah, it's astounding to me. Around 64% have changed jobs or shifted roles in the past couple of years. And that for the most part, tangible articulated tasks are shared, and the individuals are pretty recognized, but that leaves a fair number we're not experiencing that. And then yes, being acknowledged at about 70% feel that, which means 30% aren't feeling it. And those that did have that were almost 80% more interested in contributing with greater commitment. Thank you all for taking time to answer that. So something we're all into, our group of presenters, is what a difference self-care can make in terms of helping you bring your best to the team. So some of the coping strategies, and I'm president of the Yale nonprofit alumni association, and we help consult with nonprofits so they can manage their business better. But on an individual level, it's really critical to consider what you need to succeed personally. So some of those coping strategies, and they're outlined by, of course, I chose a Yale professor of psychology who is this world-renowned happiness expert hired by enterprises all over the world, Laurie Santos. And she came up actually during the pandemic with these 5. Of course, exercise, critical, 20 to 40 minutes a day, any kind of exercise you want. It can be as simple as walking, doesn't even have to be high cardio. Practicing gratitude, perhaps even just listing 3 things you're grateful for in a day. It could be about people, could be your coffee or tea in the morning was really good, could be the day is beautiful, you're happy with friends, family, whatever, anything counts there. Sleep is critical. Getting adequate sleep, and that's hard these days, lots of stress, lots of work expectations, but that's actually a priority for you, for your health and well-being. And trying to get social, connecting with people, and then being with your emotions. So that means recognizing, accepting, investigating, and nurturing however you're feeling. It makes a difference.
Thank you, everyone, for coming today. I am a teacher for UC Berkeley Extension, and I was really excited when Eleanor and Jolie asked me to be a part of this conference. So I'm really excited to be here, and we are going to be talking about signature practices in my segment. There are actually 8 signature practices for building effective teams that we're going to be covering. And this is loosely based off of a Harvard Business Review article on signature practices. So I'm going to go through those with you right now. So basically, signature practices support and cultivate strong relationships in organizations and in teams. So what a signature practice needs to have is a uniqueness to the company. So it has to be tailored exclusively to the company and the people that are a part of that culture. And it must integrate well within that culture and be meaningful to the employees. So as we saw throughout the pandemic, when people went into remote, many of the team building activities were not meaningful to employees. They actually put a bit of a burden on people who had already spent multiple hours on Zoom. So we're talking more about meaningful activities and team building exercises that are really fun and that people get excited about. And they have to provide an experience and allow collaboration. And these experiences and the collaboration has to be meaningful. So in doing so, we encourage stronger relationships and we create memories with our co-workers, which creates more cohesive teams. So next slide. I'm going to give you some examples from the private sector. For example, Uber, they do they have a signature practice using a company called the Go Games. And one of the things that they do is they do a music video. So they pick a band and they do an air band video of singing a song. They dress up like the different celebrities that sing or the band that sings. And so it's really, really memorable, and especially memorable because they also load this up to their corporate intranet. So everyone can see it. So this is something that people really look forward to doing every year, or as they're promoted into different teams that do these fun things. It creates a really fun, unique culture for Uber. Disney, Kraft, and Home Depot and Volvo, for example, do scavenger hunts, charity events, murder mystery games. They do a lot of off-site activities like canoeing, and then they create a lot of icebreakers. So they truly believe in building these collaborative teams through these extraordinary signature practices and events. So Adidas, Google, and Yahoo, they tend to have more campuses, so they can build giant puzzles. They create orchestras at lunch and in their courtyard so that people that are musical can get together and play together. They create these opportunities for them. And as you'll see in the photo on the bottom to the right, they also have an exercise where they build a race car together. So they all go out, they come together as a team, building a race car. So that's really fun for them. And then they also construct enormous pictures, and they do a lot of murals, and they do these things that really bring people together. And then they have a lot of evidence of what they had done because they are able to walk by their puzzles or their murals. So there's a lot of different ways that we can bring people together, but they have to be fun and they have to be memorable. So next slide. Oh, so because I have such a great audience here, I wanted to give you the reason why we create these fun activities that can sometimes seem like a little bit of fluff, or they are, they tend to be costly. So why do we do this? So these are the statistics. Millennials prioritize people and culture fit above everything else. That's from Harvard Business Review 2021. 15% of job seekers have declined jobs due to the company culture. So people are looking for a place where they feel that they can belong, where they're valued, where they have enjoyable days at work and build meaningful relationships. So motivated workers actually outperform those with low engagement by 202%. This is cited in Business Community in 2021. And then highly engaged business units see 41% reduction in absenteeism and 59% less employee turnover. That's from Gallup 2018, and I think that's even more true today. But I think what this translates into are profits, obviously, for the companies. And then in the situation of UC Berkeley, to bring this home to our community, is that it increases the quality of the work that we provide to our constituency or our students and our communities and the research projects that we're all involved in. Managers are responsible for 70% of deviations in team engagement. So as a manager, you really do have a responsibility to create a high performing team using signature one practices, such as these team building activities. Lastly, happiness raises business productivity overall by 31%. So when we look at the statistics, we can see why it's important to come up with these things that might seem not as important as some of the other work we do, but this is what creates happiness at work, increases productivity, it reduces turnover and absenteeism. And the reason why it reduces absenteeism is that people that are happy tend to be healthier. So they tend to get sick less. Next slide, please. So today what we're going to do for fun is we're going to do a team building exercise. This is one of the simplest ones that you can do. It doesn't cost anything. You can do it at your next team meeting, or if you're a staff, you can recommend this to your supervisor or manager, because these sorts of things make work fun. So working together as a team, we're going to break into breakout groups in a moment of approximately five people. And I would like for you to find as many of the items as you can on this virtual scavenger hunt list. If you could, please take a screenshot so you have the list. When we do the breakout, you will have 5 minutes to find as many of these items, and then choose a leader within your group that can share in the chat the total number of items. So we should be getting a message from each team in the chat, and then we'll have a winner. And then the team that finds the most in the allotted time wins. So Deepak, could you please put us into breakout groups? Okay, so I am going to look at the chat and kind of tally up the winners on this, and then I'll announce it in my next segment. But I just hope that everyone enjoyed some time together and could use it as a chance to meet new people and to network. And so that's another aspect of developing cohesive teams, is to offer these networking abilities and the opportunity to meet new people, and also to deepen those relationships. So I hope everyone enjoyed that, and then I will talk to you again later in the presentation. So I'm going to turn this back over to Eleanor.
So I had a quick thought, which is that when we talk about collaborative behavior, most people, I think about team building overall. For example, steps to build a successful team. I'm going to buzz through some of these, and I've put in bold the ones that I think actually relate closely to what does matter in collaborative team building. So, people always talk about setting reasonable goals, having well-defined roles, experimenting, having common culture, good leadership. To me, when you have individuals who are accountable to the team, that matters incredibly. Also, communicating well, having diversity. Highly diverse teams tend to perform best. Other times, people think of qualities of a high-functioning team. I won't read the ones we've already covered, but think about when everyone contributes a fair share and supports each other in a team, how that feels for you. And also, as Sydney was just sharing with you, what's it like when you have fun? I mean, to me, and I'll show you a quick clip later on, when teams are having fun, that's when they're high performing and that's when they're winning. Some common practices in a collaborative team are, of course, communicating well, establishing trust, connecting with team members. We're going to talk a lot about that more in the program, and in terms of encouraging contributions, and then providing an environment where everybody on the team feels safe. But we're going to focus on collaborative behavior, which is really the heart of the team. So the value of trust has to do with, in low trust companies, versus low trust companies, people at high trust companies report 74% less stress. Imagine that. Over 100% more energy at work, 50% higher productivity, fewer sick days. I think Sydney was speaking to that. 76% more engagement, 29% more satisfaction with their lives. I love that one. And 40% less burnout. One of the most important things that you can do to be an all-star in any team is to develop your own trustworthiness. So up to now, we've talked about teams working together. This is about you collaborating within a team. So let's look at something. Sydney actually loved this, and she's an executive coach. So the trust equation has to do on the left, it's actually a quotient like IQ or EQ. So the T stands for trustworthiness. And Meister, Green, and Gelford in The Trusted Advisor discovered that your trustworthiness is actually equivalent to your credibility plus your reliability, plus what they call intimacy, which is connection with others. And it's increased or reduced by the degree of your self-orientation, which is really how much of yourself and your own ideas, your own intensity, in short, kind of your own ego, you're bringing to a situation. And when you can quiet that, even though being fully present, even bringing the same ideas, you're better able to listen to others. And then all of the other aspects of your trustworthiness are amplified. So because in the interest of time, I'm going to breeze through each of these. So credibility relates to words and your expertise. It's one of the simplest of all. So someone might say, I can trust what she says about intellectual property because she's an expert. So it's the quality of being believable or worthy of trust based on your expertise. Reliability, on the other hand, derives from your actions and reputation. So if he says he'll deliver the product tomorrow, I can trust him because he's dependable. You have a track record of doing what you say. In terms of this notion of intimacy, it refers to the safety and security we feel when entrusting someone with sensitive personal or professional information. So we might say, I can trust her with that information. She's never violated my confidentiality. She'd never embarrass me. And it refers to your ability to form and maintain positive relationships with integrity, generosity, and respect. So going back to self-orientation, which to me is the most hardest to really get your head around in the trust equation. So it's the degree of emphasis you place on your needs relative to others. And here are a few things. I'm not going to go through the entire list. You can look at it at your leisure, but it's that notion of quieting the self-orientation and increasing your curiosity, being generally interested in the perspective of others, being able to listen with empathy and interest and communicate respectfully and with humility. So everything else you can check out later. So something else that happens when you've really elevated your trust within a team, the way others perceive you and your own awareness that you really are trustworthy, it helps because people want to be seen, heard, appreciated, and really acknowledged when they're making a contribution. And to the extent that you can move out from your comfort zone into this sort of stretch and learning zone where you're also, so you're not just, putting forward an agenda, you're also actually relying on others to help you get to the next level. That's also growth and will help you thrive. So here's the example I was talking about. In less than 20 seconds, watch for these things. Watch for the intimacy and connection, the credibility, the reliability, showing vulnerability, the role clarification, trustworthiness, and sheer joy. 20 seconds, all of this is evident.
Get the legs moving. All right, I'm gonna throw it to you. You're gonna return the favor and throw it back. Let's play. Oh yeah, I got one in me. Only one though. You the point guard, you the shooting guard. Y'all talked about this. You the shooting guard, y'all talked about this.
So just, sorry about that.
Get the legs.
So, you can see in that just, and Steph Curry is one of the ultimate. He's an MVP of the All-Star team. Anyone who follows the Golden State Warriors knows, what an amazing individual and expert he is. So, but he is sort of the ultimate leader of and exemplar of collaborative behavior. Some other things that are valuable, including building trust and connection, are rituals. So, Sydney was telling me about some that were really fun in her experience when she was on a team. It's just something as simple as in a group saying, hey, this week, let's go to lunch and, let's go out for Mexican. What are our favorite restaurants? Let's go to one of them. If there's a difference of opinion the next day, let's find an Italian place, let's go to a deli, and so on and so forth, so that, you have that space to connect. And just hear some of the thoughts for them. I also am really breezing through this because we have a lot to cover. So they should be optional, inclusive. Everyone should have a chance to take the lead. If you set them up, try not to cancel them because it suggests you don't value them. So those are really key. And now, Sydney, let me hand it off to you.
Thank you so much, Eleanor. Thanks for all that wonderful information. I really do like that equation because trust has been proven time again and to be one of the most important factors of a great leader. So luckily for me, I get all the fun topics today. So I'm going to talk about creating a gift culture within your organization. And so some of the things that we do when we create a gift culture is we offer to mentor people and we offer to coach people. And we take the time to stop and teach people how to do things. And this could be as simple as sitting down with someone and walking them through a new technology that they're unfamiliar with, or taking a new hire under your wing, and just taking that time out of our busy lives to provide the help and support to other people. That is creating a gift culture. Also, as a manager, having regular check-ins with people where you say, come on into my office and have a seat. I want to know how things are going. And you can even do this formally, where you plan to meet with your team, like on a quarterly basis, where you really find out what's going on with them. And I think the most important things to be asking people that you manage are, what is working in your job, and what are the things about your job do you love doing? Because that's where you're going to see the peak performance. When people are assigned a lot of tasks that they really don't like and they're not good at, it creates it's very difficult for them to really meet their full potential. So taking the time to talk to people is very important. Showing empathy for life changes. Many people suffer in silence. They could have an ailing parent, a sick husband. One of my colleagues right now, her husband had a heart transplant, and I didn't even know. Another one of mine was pregnant, and because of Zoom, I didn't know anything about it until she told me she was going on maternity leave. So checking in with people and showing empathy for what's going on with them. Creating networking opportunities. This seems like it's not that important, but it actually is very, very important in an organization such as UC Berkeley, where people will have long careers of 20 years. And it's important that they meet people along the way. So introducing people to people that you know, and doing some of the things that Eleanor talked about, that are very easy to do, just like saying, I want you to meet this person. I think you'll really like them. They're doing the kind of work that you want to do in the future. So take the time to create networking opportunities. And then if you are a manager, you have an enormous ability to provide networking opportunities for your team and the people that work with you by doing simple things like the scavenger hunt that we just did, or getting people from other groups together. One of the things that you can do is to reach out to a whole other team that you work with, but you actually don't see, and plan something really fun to do with them. So creating networking opportunities is really important. And then career advancement opportunities, and that's helping people get prepared to be promoted. As it is said that every great manager is grooming the person on their team to take over their job because they want to move up as well. So encouraging education, training, and teaching. UC Berkeley is so fabulous about educating their employees. There's so many opportunities. Jolie will talk about them further in her part of the presentation. But the last is just encouraging random acts of kindness. There's an organization that actually puts this on their performance evaluation, where it's like, well, what did you do? What were your random acts of kindness? And so I have the Gerber daisies in this part of the presentation because I had a colleague that would bring everyone one Gerber daisy in a paper cup. And every so often we'd all get one on our desk. And that was something that didn't cost very much, but it was so thoughtful, and it created a very warm relationship among our teammates in the group that I worked with at the time. So next slide, here we go. So the other thing that I want everyone to be thinking about is developing friendships at work. And many people think that having work friends can be really tricky, but it's actually really, really a positive thing, and it's worth the effort. And there's a link here to the Harvard Business Review article that states these statistics. So after food and shelter, belonging is a fundamental human need. So we spend 8 hours of our life at work. So it's very, very important that we have a sense of belonging at work. They have found that people who have a best friend at work are happier and healthier, and 7 times as likely to be engaged in their job. And so that refers to a best friend, but just having friends in general is very positive for your work. Employees with work friends report higher levels of productivity, retention, and job satisfaction than those who don't. And so as managers, and in this environment we're working in, where we're seeing people exiting the workforce, people that have their best friends at work tend not to do that. So I have friends who they go to Hawaii with their best friends from work. So they see each other inside work and outside work, and their families are very close. And those are people that are excited to get back to work, and the people that really had a hard time during lockdown. So I would encourage everyone on this call today to reach out and make some friends at work. If you already have friends at work, make some new friends. So I think the next slide is, these are just some ideas, because not everyone is great at connecting with people. There's so many different personality types, and some people tend to be a little bit more reserved, but these are things that you can do. You can get out of your comfort zone and invite a new employee to lunch. And then again, networking, introduce people to each other to increase their network. And then I think there's things that we can do that we just don't take the time to do. It's just regularly give shout outs to your coworkers. You can send emails to your teammates thanking them for the hard work that they did for a project that you worked on, or complimenting them on something they did for you personally to make your life easier. And then introducing yourself to someone new as we all get back on campus and back into our offices. Just take the time to, reacquaint with people, and then introduce yourself to people you don't know. And then be an organizer. Organize lunches, happy hours, Giants games with your coworkers, because those things, they go a long way to developing cohesive teams. Also bringing things in to share, healthy snacks or not so healthy snacks. I prefer myself, but I always love to see a donut. So I recommend that if you have time to pick something up for your team, and then also compliment your boss. People don't realize that, the supervisors, they really have stepped up during the pandemic, and they need encouragement too. So take the time to send your boss an email and thank them if they're working really hard for your team, or if they're doing something special. Just take the time to do that, because everyone needs to be encouraged. And then number 9 here is be a good gossip. So when you're talking with people, say, yeah, this person that I work with just did such a fantastic job, and like spread the word of the good efforts of your team. That creates a lot of positive energy and creates a positive environment for your team. And this is part of the gift culture that helps to create the most high-performing, cohesive teams.
Great, Sydney. I love your interpretation of a healthy snack as a donut. Donuts.
I prefer the donuts, because I won't buy them, but if I see them, I have to ask them.
Yeah,
So
I like a green juice type thing. That just, so now everyone in the audience knows something fun about each of us. I wanted to jump into the next topic, given time. And so we have a breakout room again, a chance for you guys to connect with each other. I'm going to introduce reasonable stress into the equation. So instead of the 5 minutes you had for Sydney's, you guys get all of 3 minutes for this one. But it's fun. I'm interested in how you felt in certain teams. So the challenge here, when you're in a group, is to actually talk about the emotions that you have felt. I'm going to give you a scenario of a team you may have been in sometime in your career. And then each person in your room should come up with one emotion that they felt. So I'm just putting out some options like valued, respected, seen, heard, included, celebrated, but they can be any words. And this I think will be fascinating. So groups in room 1 and 2, think about a scenario where you're in a newly formed team with a very directive leader who's focused on managing tasks, kind of intensely overseeing, providing input all the time on the work people are doing, and who kept that style throughout the project. So that's rooms 1 and 2, and Deepak is going to put it in the chat for you to refer to. In room 3, imagine and recall when you were in a complex team with highly skilled employees and requiring innovation, and you had a relationship-oriented leader who trusted the individuals and the team to get work done. They delegated with clear expectations, and they celebrated team successes. So again, just coming up with some emotions, having somebody to share that back in the chat. And please list your room numbers when you do that. All right, thank you. 3 minutes, gang, 3 minutes. Fantastic. So thank you all for participating in that exercise. I intentionally made it a little bit of a tight time frame. And if you'll put your responses and your room in the chat with the sort of emotions that you all came up with, I will come back to that later. So also, this is kind of a hint for some of the reactions you may or may not have had. This is also based a bit on my experience, as well as just the preponderance of the research. So relationship-oriented leaders tend to listen with empathy and create safe space for individual expression. They're often respectful, flexible, inspirational, empathetic. They care about the others. And that makes, I know for me anyway, it makes a real difference as someone takes an interest. They often will delegate, support, coach, and even mentor, not just the team, but also individuals. They tend to be ideal with highly skilled employees when innovation and creativity are desired, and they're more likely to facilitate sharing of knowledge in an environment of trust and goodwill. By contrast, and I'm not, what's the teenage term, throwing shade or something on task-oriented leaders. They are very important at the beginning of a project, but because they need to make objectives clear, create a shared awareness of the dimensions of the task, provide monitoring and feedback. But maintaining a directive style throughout a project can actually lead to demoralizing the team, because at a certain time, members of the team can actually all be leaders. So, you're working together so well, you're carrying out what needs to be done on the project. So there's this fantastic and exciting new concept of the neuroscience of trust, and I've included an article that you can take a look at. I would really encourage you to do it. So I'm going to breeze through these things, but what this guy, Paul Zak, found was that great and inspirational leaders recognize performance in personal, public, tangible, and unexpected ways. They introduce what we just did, reasonable challenge to intensify team connection. I don't know if you found or experienced that. I know I have. Team members with discretion over their work tend to feel respected. When trusted, employee job satisfaction increases. So having the chance to job craft and work with whomever is perhaps the person you're reporting to make sure you get that opportunity if you can. Show vulnerability, because it increases trust and cooperation and your credibility. Share info on goals and strategies broadly. And as we've been saying throughout the presentation, intentionally build relationships and look for ways that you can facilitate your own personal growth and personal and professional readiness for the next job. And this again is something I'm going to breeze through because I actually really want to hear from Jolie. So ambidextrous leaders have both of those styles. They have the task-oriented style and they excel at the relationship-oriented leadership style. Some of the ways you can see an incredible leader is because they show up authentically, meaning they're very present, they're very prepared, meaning they arrive with intention, they have conviction, they want to communicate respectfully and are genuinely interested to hear from you, and they're knowledgeable. So this, I'm not going to play for you. Check it out in your deck. I love it. It explains how to listen with empathy. It's really funny. Simon Sinek talks about how it's just like falling in love. I think you'll enjoy it. This again, looking at Steph Curry, doing a behind the back pass. He obviously trusts, if he makes a mistake, his teammates are going to accept it. You can see his brilliant improvisation, his joy. He acknowledges his teammates in every game he plays in. There's tremendous emotional trust, shared purpose, and the result, of course, is team success. So if you want, Jolie, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say.
All right. Yeah. Wow. I'm learning every time I listen to, yeah, Eleanor's and Sydney sharing. I'm learning. I'm learning. Yeah, all the goods and fun and key element to making a successful collaborated teams. So my sections, it all goes together. Number 5 is focus HR practice. At Berkeley, we have the people and culture. And I couldn't thank enough to my mentor and coach at my work, and also from with people and culture, the resources and the training and the networking opportunities, especially now the presentation that we're making here at the Now Conference. It's all part of the networking opportunities created for us. And I have some link here. You're probably familiar with them already. And that's where I go into, click on the link and find out, because they have they put it in different sort of like advanced level, grow your skill, grow your teams, depending on which stage of phase you are at your career path. So we have most of the presenters joining us at this seminar is a staff, and some are at the senior level as director. So you can check that out on that website there. And also early on around lunchtime, I think they have the staff organization networking opportunities. So, and here's another link for you. That's a whole list of organization on campus. You feel free, to talk to them, reach out to them. And so far, I volunteers at 2 different organizations. Staff organization is the Berkeley Staff Assembly, BSA, and we have the features platform that we have at the program is mentorship program. And also I belongs to the Cal coaching network, and it has been fabulous. So, and for the non-representative staff, we have the Achieve Together, like after 3 months, 4 months, a year. So by participating different staff organization, doing volunteer works at communities, and even presenting at this conference, we were able to satisfy the criteria, being collaborative and achieving being inclusive community. And of course, there's also another criteria is professional development. And if I haven't said it before, I want to say it here. I'm so grateful I met Eleanor and Sydney in my leadership class, and Sydney was our professors last year at UC Extension. And right away I was like, oh, I need to work with them. I want to continue to work with both of this wonderful lady representing different sectors, and to share with you our practices, key successful factors to be in a team. Eleanor, next slide, please.
Super.
All right, so ensuring that requisite skills. So we already heard Eleanor said that skills, trust is very important. It's good to know that there's a way, a formula that we can know what to amplify, to add on. And also Sydney talks about the fun facts that also, being happy, taking care of ourselves, being happy ourselves, we bring ourselves, prepare ourselves to be engaged in a team to work with others, and that's also very important. So it's on the slide here, different bullet points that what we want to watch out for. And for me, I couldn't emphasize enough about networking, coaching. Yeah, we have that, and at UC Berkeley, and also holding difficult conversation. That's the part I need to work on too. And it's because last year I also make a presentation at the Now Conference, and I did some assessment tests, the Myers-Briggs test, and I'm actually the introvert. I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say anything in the group. I was like, okay, I'll just listen and I'll do my work quietly, hope nobody's noticed me. But then what if I have but everyone have a voice, right? Everyone should feel comfortable. Like Eleanor mentioned before, comfort zone, reach out your comfort zone, able to express your idea, being heard, being safe, being appreciated. So that's what I'm still trying to learn also. The next slide, please. And I'm sharing this again here. Last year, what I did at Berkeley, that this 5 years I've been in Berkeley, I'm in a path that I want to upskill and reskill. So I come across this model. It's called Hedgehog model. And last year I presented at the conference, and I want to show you again here. And can we go to the next slide? Maybe we can look at the
course.
model.
Yes.
Oh.
And I understand we're getting a little bit tight on time.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so again, the slides are all in the website, so you feel free to download and watch the recording afterwards. And any question, please feel free to reach out to me, look me up, and we can have a chat, a coffee chat. So next slide, please.
This one is fun though, but yes, I'm sure people will
Next
look at it
slide.
later. It is so cool.
Yeah.
Jolie
Yeah,
has
thank
done.
you. Yeah, I want to make sure I give Eleanor some time and Deepak. Again, sense of community. Go check it out. The staff organization do informational interviews with people across campus, even though it's not in your field, in your department. And another thing, check out Be Well at Work. I joined the DPP program, Diabetics Prevention Program, last year because I had a baby. Now I have a 2-year-old baby, and last year during the pandemic, I'm like totally frustrated and stressed. So it's all virtual, but I want to shout out to Corey, Evans, and Emily, the opportunities. I'm in this community support group, and I was able to bring down my blood sugar level. So it's wonderful, all these resources that on campus that's available to us. I think that's all for my section, Eleanor.
Super.
Oh, again, you can just read them, like look at the slide later on. Yeah, again, feel free to reach out to me. This is a template I use to try to check in for myself and a SWOT analysis of my strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Thank you.
Great. So these next slides are like trailers after a movie has ended. So you guys can look at that again in your leisure. I think you probably already know it. I promised to just mention some of the results from your breakout room, and it's fascinating. So people who were with leaders who were relationship oriented felt much more valued, heard, appreciated, motivated, happy, making a difference. I think they enjoyed working hard. They felt respected and, honored. And honestly, the converse was true in the other groups. So thank you all for doing that. And then, to wrap up, I had a case study from Nokia on heritage relationships. And the only thing you want to be careful of is if you get too close with people or in your area alone, you can sometimes have subgroups that develop that can create conflict because you're so tight and might be less open to connecting with others outside of your team. Some of the key takeaways today, we talked about building trust, shared purpose. We talked about the gift culture and signature practices. We touched on psychological safety, that safe environment where people are listening with empathy and sharing ideas, resolving conflicts respectfully, celebrating team and individual successes. We talked about collaborative leaders, the importance of highly diverse teams, of holding them accountable as a unit, and then exploring the personal and professional training. I want to really take a moment just to thank all of you for joining us. I really appreciate having the chance to present with my colleagues, Jolie and Sydney. Many thanks to Deepak Sharma with People and Culture and Jill Matson with Event Services for helping us pull this off. The Now Event Planning Committee, especially Lisa Reichert and Ying Kwa, and your UC's Career Services Program. So thank you. Thank you so much.